Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I get excited every time we have a medium with us because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to learn, maybe about other people, about yourself. The cool thing is when you watch a medium, you learn things at the same time. Like things come up that you're like, oh, I can relate to that. And you can find this medium at a really fantastic metaphysical boutique in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It's called Enlightened Balance. And they do so much over there, so much in terms of metaphysical and, of course, mediumship. And Kim Malone is the wonderful person that owns that place. And she's with us. Hi, Kim. How you doing?
Good morning. We're super happy to be here with you today.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well. And our medium is Memo. Memo,
Yes.
the medium. Welcome. How you guys doing there?
And I didn't catch your name. What was yours?
I am Steve.
What's up, Steve?
How's it going?
So I wanna talk a little bit on what you just mentioned right now, because you just mentioned how you always learn something and you never know what you're gonna get. Well, that happens to mediums too. You know, every time I go through a reading, I always end up expanding my spirit dictionary, or learning a new sign or symbol or message that I have not gotten before. Or even there's moments where I'm like, holy crap, I did that. So we're always surprised, just like you guys are. We just don't show it as much.
So let's go down that road, Memo. How about a recent reading, or one, it could have been a couple of years ago, whatever, that stands out in your mind where something came through and it was just either bizarre or mind-blowing, and it was validated by somebody else?
Yes. So there is this thing in the mediumship community, right? And a lot of us, mediumship is not easy to do, right? As I said, we learn something every single time we do a mediumship reading. But one of the hardest things to do as a medium is to get exact dates, like a month, a day, and a year, right?
Sure.
That rarely ever happens. You'll watch Teresa Caputo, that rarely happens. You'll watch people like Matt Frazier or
by the way,
other people.
I'm connected with all of them. In
fact,
fact,
I love them.
Teresa started with me.
I've met Teresa twice.
I'm on her season finale, season 5.
You are?
Yeah. And what we did was, she had no, and sorry to digress, but you brought it up.
Oh, no.
She had no idea, but we brought in a panel of skeptics. We found people that don't believe her stuff.
Was she on your radio show?
Yes, that was my show.
I did watch that episode. And she was like,
Wow.
You guys are going to bring in all these skeptics, aren't you? And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah. And she read every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was actually on our staff. She was the promotions director, and she didn't believe any of it. And Teresa pulled out that her sister had passed.
Mm-hmm.
There was only one person that she could not read, and it was some old, he was kind of grouchy guy that he wasn't having it. He was closed. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So please continue.
Yeah. Oh crap, I forgot where I left off.
No, we were talking about getting blown away. And specific dates.
It was a date. It came out. I was actually doing a live on TikTok. I was just doing free readings on TikTok live.
Wow.
And this lady came through. I don't even remember exactly what the reading was about, but I do remember the date coming up. And in my head, I was doubting myself because I don't really bring up dates. You know, I might bring up like the month that something happened, but not really an exact date. And the exact date came out, and I just started like bawling on live. I'm like, oh my God, that just happened. I can't believe that happened.
Wow.
But it's also the emotion of that person that you're reading at the same time, because if you pull up random things that you don't know about, that this person that you're reading isn't going to know about, or didn't think that you would know about, their emotions it's easy for you to feel their emotions as well.
I think we're getting a sign from the other side just now.
But yeah, I mean, you're always going to hear me say something amazing about readings, but that's the one that I've done recently that has stuck to me the most.
When they're so specific. Yeah, I totally get it. And even just to say the month of May, I got the month of May. That's good too. when you validate it with a couple of other things. But if, to nail a date
Right.
specifically, that's, even the skeptics would say, well, that's actually pretty good. Let's do that.
That's true.
Uh,
That's true.
when you do a reading, Memo, are you picking, let's say you're connecting with the other side, somebody that passed away. Is their energy still around us, even though they're gone? Is that what you're reading, the energy that they've left behind? Or what is it?
So it really just depends on the soul, right? Because as we know, there still are negative souls out there, negative energies out there. So it just depends on how evolved the soul is and how the soul comes through. So there will be moments that the soul channels directly with me, or there'll be moments that my spirit team, who are my gatekeepers, will keep out a negative soul in order to still give me information from that soul, but I don't directly have to channel the negative energy, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. I deal with negative people all day long, and they're here. And I wish I had the gate to keep that out of there.
Right.
I have crystals. I try. When you talk about your spirit team, who is your spirit team? Is it, everybody says they have a different spirit team. I feel I have a spirit team.
Yes, we all have a spirit team, and we all have different quantities within our spirit team. So for instance, I'm gonna give a few of them that I work with. Some of them is private, so I still keep some of it to myself. But one of them that I work with, one of my spirit team, is my grandfather that I never got to meet here on the physical world, my grandmother that I never got to meet here, my brother that I never got to meet here, my dog who's on the other side. I have my angels. I work with Anubis very heavily, because I feel that I had an experience with Anubis that came forward. And after Anubis came forward, that's when I started being able to do mediumship. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I was a skeptic for a really long time. I did not believe in mediumship. I always sat there and I was like, this is fake. Yeah. Teresa Caputo, I was in high school when Teresa Caputo's TV show came out, right? And I'm like, Teresa Caputo's got to have a team that looks on Facebook or something. So I never watched it, right?
Yeah.
Until I experienced it, and I trusted it, and I just went along with it. So then I started practicing, doing my mediumship readings on my own. Sorry, I talk a lot and then I get lost.
No, I got you. No, yeah, you're a skeptic. I've dealt with many, and I don't want to say I'm a skeptic because I fully believe in it,
Right.
but I always wonder, and that's why it's a learning process. That's why I asked you who your spirit team is, if the energy is still here when somebody passes, because after all these years I started with John Edward.
So something that I use a lot with my clients when they ask me this question about energy is, what I love about metaphysics is that sometimes you can find a little bit to kind of tie it to science. And I think it's the law of conservation of energy in physics that says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only evolve. Right. So I explain this to my clients all the time, or my sitters all the time. Your loved ones are still here. It's like water, right? I have this big thing of water that I can easily put it over heat and turn it into vapor, or I can put it in the freezer and turn it into water, right? What's not to say that it's the same thing with our souls?
Right. And I believe that in my journey, learning more about energy. And by the way, I'm going to just throw it out here. If you get anything on me, I'm transparent. You could say whatever you want, and I'll validate it if I need to. But yeah, anything comes. Kim, when Memo works with clients there at the Enlightened Balance Boutique, he can do it virtually. They can come in, right? It's all of that.
Correct. I mean, honestly, we've really been specialty store in our Illinois market. We do about 1,000 sessions in person a month here because there is a full team of practitioners. We have been working on our online presence. Prior to recently, really our online presence had to do with clients who met us here, then went back to California, went back to Germany, went back to wherever they were, and wanted to keep up their relationship with the practitioner that they met. So we would organize it. But we've now been actively working on being able to go onto our website, booking a virtual appointment, so that people that are outside of our driving area can see us. Absolutely.
You do so much there at the boutique. What's the number one modality that people ask for?
You know, I have to say from my perspective, medium is the easiest to sell because I feel like my store is unique in that you can be in my store shopping. I talk to you about a reading and I bring you to a practitioner. So I don't even know the client's name until I'm opening Memo's door and saying, hey, this is Sarah. She's doing 30 minutes with you today. So
Right.
it's about as ethical and honest of a relationship as it can be. I mean, we do take appointments, but really, I would say 70% of our clientele know that in the moment that they can come in here and get something. So with us not having a phone number, not even knowing who they are until I'm giving them to the practitioner, it kind of leaves, you know, a perfect balance of it being real or fake for the people that are skeptics. But mediums, because they can pull out specifics about loved ones, different things, it of course really validates. You know, one of my funniest stories, and I was not the reader in this, it was a practitioner of mine. We had a lady, her husband and a child who, you know, crammed into a room for a reading. And I guess in the reading, the practitioner had said, you're going to rekindle your relationship with your brother and you're going to have a child. I guess they laughed amongst themselves and left. Later, she comes back and tells me, you know, I have to tell you a funny story. I came in here for a reading. My husband had just had a vasectomy. So when your person had said we were going to have a baby, we're like, this is super hokey. And I don't even have a brother. She goes, do you know that I found out that a couple weeks later that I apparently had gotten pregnant before the vasectomy had went through, and my father had an affair, and I have a brother in South America that reached out to me. And she's like, you didn't even know I was unhappy. You know, she paid her bill and left and didn't complain.
Right.
Just kind of thought it was, this is entertainment, something like that. But she came, you know, circled back to tell me those things, which I really appreciated, you know, because I know the work we're doing really helps people. And I even came to it as a skeptic myself. So I feel like until you have a real authentic experience, it really shifts your perspective of things.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And here in the New York area, there's this one psychic. She's been around for a long time. A little kooky, I got to admit, and everybody says that. And I had her on air way back in the day. And I'll never forget, I was walking into a restaurant and she was in the parking lot. She goes, hi, Steve. Hey, you're going to have a daughter, another one. Just letting you know. And I'm like, yeah, okay, not happening. And she was right. And she was right.
Wow,
Wasn't even not planned. And, you know, I regret saying she was a kooky psychic at that time because she was spot on. And it's not like if you recently got married and then a psychic says, oh, I think you're going to have a son. Okay.
Correct.
All right. You know, even there's other psychics, friends of mine, they're called the Psychic Sisters. And they're like not my go-to team, but like we're personal friends. I'll go to their house for holidays. And I couldn't find my daughter. My daughter's 14, her passport and my passport. And we were planning to go away. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, so I was expediting it. And I'm not even going to tell you how many hundreds of dollars to get that done.
No.
And I reached out and I said, I'm just checking in, last ditch effort here. Any vibe on where the passports might be? Here's the situation. And she says, oh, it's in a box. Definitely in a box. And I'm like, I didn't say this to her, but I'm like, I recently moved. Okay.
I have 500 boxes.
So I come here, and this is only late last year. I come here into my office. I go to the bathroom. I come back, and something just moved me to go to a metal box that was on my floor that I had been in already, opened it up, and there was a manila envelope in there that I looked in already. But something just was taking my mind and saying, go there now, open it up. And there, that's passports. Passports were in there.
Wow.
And
you know, I often think, you know, what you're talking about there is kind of like an intuitive hit. And I think that people over time have really kind of lost focus and trusting their own intuition. I personally believe everybody is born with some type of gift. And you either are raised to believe it and it's embraced, or people think you're crazy, you know, one or the other. And I think depending on how that part of a child's upbringing goes is how that ends up with really incredible mediums when the family embraces the gift and doesn't right away think their kid, you know, needs psychiatric help.
Yeah.
You know?
And the sisters who I just mentioned, they were working on a project. They put pause on it because of health issue. But it was basically a book and possible TV show for children that have ability, because it gets squashed. They're afraid to say anything that I just saw somebody, nobody's in the room. We actually have instant feedback. You can reach us instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. Tammy's in Ocala, Florida. She's asking Memo, what types of signs do you get when you do a reading?
It's all over the place. If you sit down with me and you see me do a reading, you will hear me talking nonstop for the whole.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
And it's in different ways, right? We all have these different clairs, and a lot of people like to say, "This is my clair, this is my clair," but as a medium, you work with all of them, and you don't know which one is going to work the best during that reading. There's been readings where I taste what the loved one wants me to talk about, right? There's been readings where I smell it hasn't been a lot.
Wow.
It's been like 2 or 3 of each, but it happens, and you just have to be, that's the reason that you have to be, 1, very open-minded, 2, very trusting of yourself, and 3, very grounded, because you have to be aware of what's not your energy. So if I'm getting this sign or symbol, or if I'm seeing or thinking something in my head, I'm like, okay, I would never think of that really. So I know that's not my thought. I know that's spirit's thought. But honestly, there's, like I said earlier, there isn't set signs. Like there are some obvious things, or some usual things that spirit will bring up, right? Like maybe how a person passed away and what may have contributed into their departure. But I don't really know most of the time what's going to come through.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I think is interesting too? I have just seen, with working with so many practitioners over the 11 years my store has been open, and just getting to know these people like as friends, is that a lot of times I think we project our own junk, right? So like if in my mind's eye, I saw a piece of paper, I'm a list maker. So I would go right away to, have you been making a list? Because that's what paper and pen means to me.
Your frame of reference.
My frame of reference.
Yeah.
Yours, his could be, I like writing handwritten letters.
Yeah.
Somebody else could be something. But
and that's a good one to bring up, because spirit will show me paper. And to me, when spirit shows me paper and writing on paper, it means 2 different things, right? It can mean quite literally that person that's sitting with me and getting a reading has their loved one's handwriting on a letter or something. Or to me, it can also mean they have, or we're thinking of getting, a tattoo in honor of their loved one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why it means that.
Yeah.
It just does.
I've kind of always thought that trying to remove your own projection is important. If you're seeing the paper and pen, just say, does paper and pen mean something to you? Because I think that the stuff that you put with it can trip you up. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what it means to me, it could be something very different than it means to you, and different than what it means to you. But you're saying, as a medium, which I am not, that when you get those symbols, it generally goes either tattoo driven, or the person wrote you a letter or left you some kind of a...
And what I'll do most of the time is I'll follow my intuition. So if that sign comes up and it's either, my intuition will tell me it's actually the tattoo thing, I won't bring up the writing thing. I'll just bring up the tattoo thing. But if in that moment my intuition is like, I really don't know which one it is, or I'm just not having an off day, I'll bring both of the situations up. This is what I'm seeing. This is what they're bringing forward. These are the 2 signs that are the 2 meanings that this sign usually has. How do you connect with this sign? Because I'm a human too, and there are going to be moments where I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Well, I just learned something here from you guys when Memo said that you have to be grounded so that you can filter out what's going on in your mind, and know that it's coming from another source.
Right.
So you have to kind of strike that balance there.
There's a practice that you can do to help you realize your own energy, and it's called sitting in the power. And it's like a meditation. I mean, I did it on YouTube, I think, when I first tried it. Now I do it by myself, but it's pretty much recognizing your own energy, and then asking your outside spirit team to step into your area, so then you can slowly start feeling what their energy feels like, so that you can differentiate and figure out, this is my energy, this is my spirit team's energy, or this is Anubis energy, or this is my grandfather's or my grandmother's or my brother's energy, whatever it may be.
Wow. I'm going to try that. I think that's so cool. I really do. Because
Yes.
I know my mom is always around me, and I don't do it always, only when I need a sign, a signal, just a validation of something. I get signs and they are very specific. And
I
I
love
know it's
that.
like, it's that one time I was going through like a rough situation about a year and a half ago. The night before I was like, I hope it goes well tomorrow. And it could have been life changing. I hope it goes well. Mom, please just send me a sign. It's going to be okay. Next morning, I'm driving to where I had to go in the car, pulling into the parking lot, and I'm vibing my mom again. Like, come on, mom, just show me something. I look down and I see the expiration date on my energy drink in the console was her birthday.
Oh, I
That's
love
great.
that.
There's no way that, skeptical, somebody could say, all right, 1 in 365 chance. Okay.
Yeah.
But then my friend said to me, you know what? That's all cool and all. But the fact that you look down, who reads the expiration date on stuff like that when you're driving, that you did at that moment? She needed and wanted you to see it. And the situation turned out fabulous. It was fantastic. Everything went well. So it's like if you're open to seeing things, and I get what you're saying. So whatever that is sitting in your soul or sitting in yourself or whatever, I think we all should do that just so we're more plugged into what's going on around us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it takes practice, what I tell people all the time when they start meditating is don't expect anything from meditations ever.
Right.
Going with zero
Yes.
expectations.
Yes.
I was just going to say that. How many
Mhm.
times do people come to you and say, can you connect with my dad? I'm waiting for my. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
You may get other people. You may have
Mhm.
people connected to him, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. Why does that happen? Is it their energy is not strong at that moment? Is that the person that they want to get a message from?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with that question. I'm not sure. I've never done a reading where I can't channel someone.
Really?
And like I said, and it's probably because of the practice that I have set for myself, right? Like I said earlier, if I can't reach that energy, if I can't reach that soul, my spirit team will step in for me and they will give me the information that I need to give the sitter in order for them to get the reading that they need to hear.
Wow.
But beyond that, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know. And um, there are things where, in my mind, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I used to be the super curious person, but when I got into spirituality and I started doing mediumship, I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna look into things that are already working fine. I'm gonna just let it keep working like it's working and keep doing my thing. But yeah, I haven't really asked spirit or sat and meditated on that too often. So
Wow. You just let it go. Let it
yeah.
flow. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Mhm.
And it sounds like more times than not, you get it.
Yeah.
Something comes through for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, usually.
Channeling some other.
Right. Well, I do want to say something because this is really funny. Spirit has never brought this up before, but they brought up the word buttercup and then they start singing the song.
Build me up, Buttercup.
Yes. Do you have a connection to that song from when you were younger, or did someone call you Buttercup, or still calls you Buttercup?
No, but
Privately calls you Buttercup.
and if they did, I wouldn't tell you. No, I'm kidding. I never say no. I never say never because I would have to think deeper about that and what
Right.
the song was. Now let's go deeper. The song was by the Foundations. So I don't know if there's a connection there. And I would
I
even,
don't know.
I think it came out in like 1968 or something. So maybe there's a year connection. I look at all angles. So I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
that's pretty knowledgeable about the song
Right.
itself.
I'm like, I didn't know any
Yeah.
of that.
I've been a DJ since I was 17 and still do it. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Plethora of information.
I know every song. Like music is well, okay. Like in 5 seconds, here music. 3 weeks ago, I needed to know what was going on in a situation, and I was like, I'm driving. I'm like, please give me, mom, anybody, spirit team, give me the answer. What's going on here? There is an answer. And as I'm driving, the song "Let It Be" by the Beatles dropped in my head. There will be an answer. Let it be.
Oh.
And at the
Oh.
beginning of the song, they say, and I look back to this, and like Paul McCartney says, Mother Mary came to me, and it's not a religious reference, it's his
Mhm.
mom. My mother's name is Rosemary.
Ah,
I
Oh.
get to my office. This is like 3 weeks ago. Get here. 30 minutes later, I get a phone call. It was the complete answer I was looking for. It was the answer for what was going on. And it was,
Oh, I love
Yeah.
yeah.
that.
So it's like, there's another sign, and
yeah.
music connected. So build me up
Sounds like your mom is very active on the other side.
She is. You know what? It's kind of weird to say, and I had a wonderful relationship with her. I think my relationship is stronger now.
Mhm.
It's like I can't explain it.
And I tell people all the time, if we obviously we grieve, right? And we're never going to stop grieving our loved ones. That grief never stops, but there's a positive way of grieving. And if we allow ourselves to continue to talk to our loved ones and ask them for help and ask them for guidance,
Oh yeah.
we're going to be a lot more connected while they're gone than when they were here in the physical world.
It's totally true. And it's like
Yeah.
you shouldn't look at a wake or a funeral as such. It should be a celebration of their life. A lot of times we look at it in a different way
Yeah.
because we're grieving. I have a feeling I'm gonna be emailing Kim about that song.
I hope.
You know what it is?
It comes to you.
I
Like
think
the
they,
lady with the brother she didn't know, right? Exactly.
I don't know. I'll bet there's something there. We're just about out of time. I want to
Sure.
tell everybody, what's your website, Kim?
Sure, just www.enlightenedbalance.com. Super
And
simple.
if somebody's looking for reading, even virtually anywhere, literally in the world, they could go there and set that up.
Yeah, so if you want to call the store, if you want it to be anytime 7 days a week during the daytimes, yes, call the store at 815-307-1180. If it's evenings or such and you want to do something in the middle of the night, you can log on to our website and schedule that.
It was great talking with you guys. It really was.
You too.
Thank you.
It's and I learned a lot, especially about tuning into what's there and grounding yourself. By the way, I'm sitting on a grounding mat right now, so I try.
Oh, I love
Oh, nice.
But it's key. So awesome. Thank you so much, and look forward to getting together next time we can.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.